beginning, when I was involved with politics, I thought that the left, and mainly the social movements, had a really important role to play in the society. So since the beginning, first in a more shy way, I think, I was with this political party stuffs, and I started admiring social movements. I started studying social movements in this period of the end of the 70s here in Brazil, what was called the New Syndicalism, and the communitary movement that was involved with the Catholic Church, the left-wing sector of the Catholic Church. So I just started getting involved with this social movement stuff. One thing that I remember is that I read a book on the MST, that is the Landless Movement, Movimento dos Trabalhadores Rurais Sem Terra, really well known. I think it's the biggest social movement in the whole world. Today it can count 2 million members just in Brazil. And then I was just involved with that, and started to be involved, but not really in an active way. I was just reading something and maybe support, but not completely involved, directly involved. So then I started participating, as I said, in the anti-globalization movement. So in this process of the anti-globalization movement, and after with the indie media, I started getting involved with other social movements. So I was involved with the homeless movement. So we worked in an occupation. It was an urban occupation here in Brazil, and it's interesting for you to know that these squats that we have here in Brazil are really different of the squats normally they used to do in Europe. In Brazil, these, we say, occupations are done by poor families. So you have a building that is occupied by lots of families, lots of poor families, and they live there. So that's the only alternative they have, so that's why they're there. So when I was working in indie media, we was doing a project inside this occupation that was a urban occupation in a street called 9 de Julho, the July 9th, here in São Paulo. So I was involved with them. After, we could get in touch with other movements, mainly in these homeless issues. Another movement that I got in touch was the MTST, it's the Movimento dos Trabalhadores Sem Teto, Homeless Workers Movement. And I was involved in some occupations with them, mainly one that we did in a big space. It was in a city close to São Paulo called São Bernardo do Campo, in a place that was right after a Volkswagen factory. There. It was a big space, it was a really big occupation, and this was really important for me, this contact with the reality. But when I was involved with anarchism after this period of the homeless movement, I stayed for a time without this contact with the social movements, because really I think I was involved with the anarchism, and I could not think on this contribution that anarchism could have to social movements. So I went, I think, to the other side, and I started seeing anarchism as something different of the whole left. And so I think nowadays, in a critical way, that in the beginning anarchism took me away from the reality, the class struggle reality. So this process of 24 on, I think it was important, because that's when I start to think and I start to connect anarchism with this reality of the past of involvement with social movements. So, since this period of 2005, 2006, I connected again the social movement reality that I was working and I was defending in the past with anarchism. That was something that I got completely involved after 2003 or 2004. So after 2005 and completely from 2006, I thought and I discovered that I could join anarchism and social movements, anarchism and the left, anarchism and this whole political stuff, much bigger than the anarchism alone. So this process after 2006 was really important, and when I was in FARJ, I was visiting the social movements and participating, not too much actively because I was not living there, I was just going there frequently but not every day. So I got in touch with the huge work that this organization was doing with the homeless movement. Basically, FARJ helped to organize a really huge homeless movement. In the time it was really big. FARJ was working with about 12 occupied places with lots of families and organizing new occupations and organizing assemblies and promoting anarchism inside this homeless movement, mainly by the strategy that was being defended there. So this was really important for me, and I gave some help, mainly as I could, with training material, maybe with some discussion, maybe writing articles, making the diffusion of what was going on there. So I was involved, but not every day. Okay, I was involved like with this distance that, in fact, was not facilitating me to be there every day and everything. And so after this process, when we were doing these discussions on to organize the Anarchist Federation here in São Paulo, I got involved with the landless movement. So by one comrade that was involved with the movement for about 10 years, he presented me the movement, and I, since the end of the 90s, I really admired the movement. But in this process of building the FASP, I got involved with the landless movement and start to go there and to know their activities and everything. And then I was completely involved with the landless movement. So now I'm a member, organic member of the landless movement here in São Paulo. And basically the movement here, there is a regional that is called Big São Paulo Regional that involves the city of São Paulo and other cities close to São Paulo. And there are 4 settlements that they call communes. Okay, it's 4 settlements, 3 it's rural settlements, so it's mainly peasant stuff, and 1 urban, so it's a kind of a homeless occupation, but with the production. That is the difference between the landless movement and the homeless movement. That is this issue of production. So landless movement always works with this issue of collective production and everything. So today I'm working with the landless movement, and basically we are organizing people to build new occupations and in fact occupating some lands. So we was working with that, and then inside these existing communes here we are working with grassroots works. So our proposition is to work with the grassroots in process of education, in process of rebuilding this this relationship and promoting this self-management culture and promoting direct democracy and promoting federalism, promoting internationalism socialism, this critical vision of the government, autonomy. So that's what we're doing there.